Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds podcast. I'm your co-host, Boomer Gunta, the cat that heads your stolen show back. And to my left over here is the main man, Jesus De Niro, the man that makes the fat stacks. Take it away from the dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly ideas, brother, and spicier content than your girl's OnlyFans.
What is going on, everybody? Before we get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and with that, let's get right into it. You know, we weren't originally going to do this topic. In fact, I literally just told my man probably about 10 seconds ago, 15 seconds ago, we got to talk about it. Caleb Plant versus McCumby. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of McCumby. I did become a fan of Caleb Plant after his last 4 fights. And listen, I personally feel like this fight stole the show. Not just on the Canelo Berlanga card, but on every fight that was on the UFC. So, going into the Caleb Plant McCumby fight, I wanted Caleb Plant to win. My man here wanted Caleb Plant to win. Based on who Caleb Plant is, not just as a fighter, but as a family man, as a lot of the things that he represents outside of the ring, the way the man trolls, the way the man has beefs with certain fighters, I'm here for it. I think he's got a great personality. I think he's got good character. I think he knows how to sell a fight. I think Caleb Plant has a lot of the tools that make a great fighter. Not just that, but he fights anybody. He fought Canelo Alvarez. He fought David Benavidez. Yeah, man, he fights whoever. He's not scared. That being said, listen, I was surprised in the first couple rounds that McCumby was not just doing damage, but I was getting a little worried, if I'm being honest with you guys. McCumby was putting in work very comfortably. Seems like that time off had done Caleb Plant a lot of harm because I saw a lot of ring rust. And I was getting a little worried that McCumby was on his way to a W. Caleb Plant, whether you agree with the way it was done or not, got dropped there 2 times. One of them was a little sus, but it was counted as a knockdown regardless. And yeah, it was not looking good. And then Caleb Plant changed his strategy mid-fight. Got in the phone booth, put his head up against a McCumby, pushed him to the ropes, and he went to work, man. He was landing the uppercuts at will. Didn't matter what up, he was landing them. He might have missed 1 or 2, but he was landing every single uppercut. And I told my man here, when I noticed that, he's real susceptible to the uppercut. Not just that, but he would throw combinations, vicious combinations in there, landing 3 or 4 punch combinations and landing them, perfectly. Now, don't get me wrong. McCumby would come back, and the punches that he threw at Caleb Plant, they seemed like they affected Caleb Plant. But, oh, man, this man went in. Caleb Plant was putting in work in there, and it seems like as soon as he did that and he implemented that plan, McCumby didn't know what to do. Don't get me wrong, he'd occasionally move away from the ropes, but then Caleb Plant would push him right back into the ropes, and then he'd start teeing off again. In the end, it was just a series of combinations of punches that forced the referee to call it at, basically the end of the round. That ended up bringing the fight to an end, 11th round, I want to say. But oh man, Caleb Plant looked good. All respect to Caleb Plant. I'll even say this: shout out to McCumby, man, because McCumby not only took the barrage of punches. There was it might have been 10 or just a little bit under 10, a punch combo that Caleb Plant landed in, and even though he got hit with almost all those punches, McCumby did not go down. It took the ref stepping in, saying, "I've seen enough." But listen, this fight stole the night, not just from Canelo Berlanga, but it stole the night from the UFC as well. It was a phenomenal fight. Respect to both of these dudes, even though going in I did not respect McCumby. Respect to that dude for staying in there and taking the barrage that Caleb Plant do. And shout out to Caleb as a veteran, man, putting in that work when again, it was not looking good there in the first couple rounds. But what do you think about that, my man?
I'm going to sound like a humongous nerd here, but I'm not going to forgive what I felt about this match. This fight has the makings of something that would happen in like an anime fight if it was about boxing. This sounds like something that was straight out of Hajime no Ippo. And let me take you back to what I saw during the fight. During the fight, you and I both noticed that Trevor McCumby already had a lanky stature to begin with. The man had a very weird, unorthodox stance where it seems like his the way that he was stance up, the man's arms were all over the place, and it was already from the get. It was already kind of, yes, he was crab stancing like that. Like where his hands were gonna go, they were already kind of hard to detect. So Caleb Plant was already having difficulty of what is this man's game plan. And look, lanky stature aside, Trevor McCumby had a lot of mustard behind those punches, some of which actually pushed Caleb Plant after the fact. In fact, the one of the knockdowns that he gave, I think he gave a punch to his arm, and then it actually threw Caleb Plant off balance, and I think Trevor McCumby was able to give one more blow. I think it was to the body. I think it was an arm shot, but apparently the judges ruled it a knockdown because the last punch was able to go to the body, so that counts. Not going to be mad about that. But even when they were in the clinch in the corner, you can already tell Trevor McCumby had a lot of strength going in because he was able to basically throw Caleb Plant like basically right behind him. And already from that in and of itself, Trevor McCumby had a lot of power behind those punches. And even in the clinch, he had a lot of power. So I think it was about 4 fights in, Caleb Plant realized that he was in trouble because most of those rounds were Trevor McCumby. Caleb Plant wasn't looking good. He was, I think there was even one point where he had a stumble, had a slip. So already Caleb Plant wasn't looking too high. And again, I say this seems like an anime fight to me because this seems like the first half where the main character realizes that they're up against a tough opponent, and the first half of the episode is making basically the enemy of the show look as powerful as he can, and you're not going to be able to fight on their fight. So what Caleb Plant had to do is that he had to come up with the plan. He realized because of his lanky stature, the fact that most of his punches do need a wide distance, Trevor McCumby had the range of a long barrel shotgun. A lot of blast, a lot of power. But if you get within that rifling, you're not going to be able to throw anything. Caleb Plant knew, okay, I'm going to need to get in super close, get in that phone booth, and start throwing some blows to McCumby. And guess what? The strategy worked. In fact, if you don't believe me, something that happened right when the referee called the match a TKO loss for McCumby, I noticed that something had happened in the scuffle between I shouldn't say scuffle, that implies equal blows, but after the flurry of 10 unanswered punches from Caleb Plant, Trevor McCumby tried to throw one last shot, and it was a Hail Mary, but it got caught in the ropes, meaning that Caleb Plant's theory of his punches needing distance was proven correct because Trevor McCumby threw one last throw, one last Hail Mary, and guess what? It got caught on the ropes, meaning that was just one more open shot for Caleb Plant. It probably would have been 2 or 3 opportunistic shots at Caleb Plant, but guess what? He was right. He was right to believe that Trevor McCumby was more of a long distance fighter, I guess a bit of a sniper in his punches, and he was like, all right, I need to get inside the rifling, I need to get inside his arms. And I think there was even at a couple points where he was actually the shots that Trevor McCumby was defending against Caleb Plant was grinding down the damage to his arms, meaning that the defense that Trevor McCumby was trying to put up was actually taking more effort out of him, more energy out of him, more stamina to even do defending. So that means he was having difficulty in and of itself of picking up his arms, which opened up more of Caleb Plant's offenses, specifically the uppercut, because he landed like 8 in like 1 round, and that in and of itself is dangerous. But credit to McCumby, he was able to eat those. The only thing that was his downfall was way too many unanswered punches in the 11th round, and that's when the referee called it. Beautiful performance.
Yeah, listen, man. It was a great fight. Again, we were both worried in the beginning. McCumby looked like he started running away with it, but Caleb Plant adjusted like a champion, like a veteran, like an OG. Adjusted. He implemented his plan, and from the second that he implemented that plan, McCumby did not know what to do. He just ended up eating a whole lot of punches, which led to the eventual TKO. It was a great fight. We would have done y'all a disservice if we didn't talk about it because it did steal the night, not just for Berlanga and Canelo, but also for the UFC. It was definitely the fight to watch. Great fight. Go back and watch it if you haven't. It was a very, very good time. And shout out to both of these guys. I'm going to be tuning into a lot more McCumby fights. And I've already been watching Caleb Plant fights, but I'm going to watch them with a little bit more respect. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.